Thank you so much for joining us. Presented, of course, by Titan MRI and by ABC Fine Wine and Spirits. We are lining up more sponsors coming in. You better not get left behind. We appreciate all of them, and we'll talk about one just joining us in a little bit later. We've got a great show for you today. Ahmad Black's going to join us in just a little bit. And then a little bit later is Zach Abolverdi, who, of course, took Robbie's place at the Gainesville Sun. And I want to talk to him a lot about recruiting and stuff like that because he really knows that stuff. Look, I know when guys when they're having a good class just by what the numbers say, but you don't know until you see guys play or see them on campus. Kyle Trask, Kyle Pitts, we're not big-time recruits. But sometimes you get a big-time recruit, he doesn't pan out. But I'm still curious where Florida goes with this next cycle of recruiting. So we'll talk to him as well. Don't forget, you can listen to us anytime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, WRUF.com. My front nine is up there. In fact, 39 platforms where you can find us. Of course, many of you are watching us on Facebook and YouTube. Remember to like, follow, and subscribe so you don't miss an episode. How about this? Freddie got me business cards printed up. I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll be handing you business cards now when you see me. I may take a couple by the come. Our great sponsor, Kyle Cohen from Leonardo's Millhopper. Today, in this hat, are the people who qualified for the drawing, and we'll pick a name out a little bit later, and that'll be a winner, and then we'll start a new contest all over again on Monday. Also, we're hoping next week, I think we're going to have Greg Sankey on next week, the commissioner of the SEC. All right, so just a little bit before we get to Ahmad, spring has sprung. Football practice has started at the University of Florida. It's great to have football practice, I think, for them and for everybody. And like I said to some people, hey, look, if you want to blame bad defense on COVID, all right, we'll go with that, okay? Almost nobody played great defense this year. Almost everybody had troubles with defense. The only teams that really played well defensively were teams that usually didn't score a lot, so they were trying to keep you can keep the score down if you want. But even, we saw Alabama got lit up by Florida, lit up by Ole Miss. Those are 5 stars everywhere, and they got lit up on more than one occasion. So we'll see what spring does in terms of practicing your tackling, hitting people. How much are they going to be still even now willing to do that? Because obviously the focus for Florida is going to be to install Emory Jones in the offense. I thought the stories that I read about him, Emory Jones had a little Zoom press conference on, Thursday. And I thought it was really interesting. He said, look, I waited my time, and it was hard, and now I'm ready. And that's great. That's tremendous. I think when guys can do that and are able to do that, you think nothing but the best of them, and it happens so little. We are seeing guys just 2 days ago, or was it yesterday? The kid Joe Milton at Michigan. Now, remember when he started playing at Michigan, people were raving about him. Oh, look at this kid. He's so big. He's strong. He can run. He can throw. And now he's gone. He's in the transfer portal. He didn't like that they were bringing in other people. I mean, that's the way it works these days. Also, for those of you wondering about baseball, it has been delayed today. They're not going to go till 5 now. It's spitting pretty bad out there, to be honest with you. It was not great conditions to be playing in anyway. They do have a great drainage system there, and they hope to be able to handle that eventually, but they hope to get the game in at 5 o'clock, and then later, they'll be playing game on Saturday and Sunday. I'm going to plan on go to the game on Sunday. Of course, basketball, not a good game on Tuesday night. I thought they played hard. There wasn't like there was any lack of effort, but just some terrible shot selections down the stretch, and that was the difference in the game. It wasn't a terrible loss, but here, you know what they have next? 3 games against teams that aren't going to help your net ranking. But you need to win those. And they're good teams. They're good enough to beat Florida. You got Auburn, obviously Georgia Saturday, which just beat Missouri, has won 2 in a row. You've got Auburn following up with that, Auburn's got Sharif Cooper, one of the best players in the country, and then Kentucky, at Kentucky. You don't feel like, well, that game's not going to help you at all. So we got a ton of stuff going on. Again, we're going to have our drawing for Leonardo's Millhopper Quick Picks. We'll get to the Gator of the Week, which was, not a tough choice. And it's going to be so easy to pick Gators of the Week now because we have so many events going on. We'll talk about that as well a little bit later. But right now, it's a great pleasure and an honor to bring on our special guest. I call him the finisher because he finishes games. Penn State, Georgia, you name the game. Ahmad Black, finish it off. Oklahoma.
Well, we that was a little bit of luck with those plays. So I think I was just in the right place at the right time. So,
well, the Penn State game, you undercut the guy. That was a pretty smart play.
I kind of knew that play. So
yeah,
I'll take credit for that one. How's it going?
Oklahoma, we still don't understand what happened there.
We called the wrong play. I told you that. We called the wrong play, and it was just a freaking lousy effort by the wide receiver and a somewhat good effort by me, I guess.
I remember the celebration after that national championship, and you said that Iglesias needs to get in the weight room.
Oh, yeah.
Just dogging the poor guy after that.
I don't think I ever seen him after that. How long did he play in the league?
He might have, but I don't remember him playing in the league.
Yeah, I think that was the last time we ever saw him. So I apologize.
Yep. It's great to have Ahmad Black on, and we'll talk a little bit about different things that he did as a Gator. But Ahmad, just for you, I got a Tampa Bay shirt in here just for you.
I like it. I like it. We were the center part of a lot of jokes. First couple weeks of the season when Brady threw up, he thought it was fourth down against the Bears.
Yeah.
And, we went in the New Orleans, I think it was, and scored 3 points. So it wasn't looking very promising for us at the beginning, but I think we just had to gel a little bit. People got to understand that it was no off season. No practice sessions and film sessions like you would typically have when you're moving to a new team because of COVID. So, with Tom, being the veteran that he is and one of the greatest quarterbacks to ever play this game, he's able to adapt. And, I get a bunch of people, I'm in all these sports groups and whatnot, and I just see them talk, and, they always want to claim, well, Tampa didn't do anything, any of these things for Jameis. They didn't bring anyone in for Jameis. And I'm like, it's almost basically the same team almost. I mean, you had guys that in the Super Bowl produced that we just acquired, but take away the Super Bowl. I mean, you want to say Antonio Brown, he was the fourth leading receiver. At the beginning of the season when Gronk came back, he was the third tight end. O.J. Howard got hurt and, kind of moved to the side of Cameron Brate. You had, when we put in Scotty Miller,
yeah,
that's a stretch. I wouldn't mind having him in the game besides, Antonio Brown. I mean, I would love having Antonio Brown, but I would be fine with Scotty Miller. Ronald Jones completely ran the air out of the ball this year. I mean, he ran the ball phenomenal. And Fournette here and there, but Fournette was 400 yards behind Ronald Jones.
Yeah.
Yeah, so these are guys that was already on this team. Granted, new right tackle with Worse that came in. Donovan Smith played pretty okay this year. But I think a lot of that has to do with getting a guy like Tom Brady in your locker room, right? When you bring a guy like that in the locker room, he changes the morale of everybody. I mean, guys want to come in and play for Tom Brady. I mean, we go from a guy, with all due respect to Jameis, who haven't even been to the playoffs. You don't have
to respect him here. That's okay.
Yeah, he never even been to the playoffs, and so how can we rely on this guy for a year in and a year out when we see what he's capable of. So, I'm not saying he's not a bad player, but when Tom Brady came in, he just turned the whole team around.
There's an expression that the kids use that I always screw up. I think it's called swole. You look all swole. I mean, you're lifting. You have a weight room in the next room or what?
I've been lifting a little bit, man. I just I see those guys running around out there. I think they may need someone to run down a kickoff or something one day for Tampa. So got to be ready when they call me, baby.
There you go. One thing I wanted to talk about for sure, and one reason I wanted to have you on this week was you saw the retirement of the two Pounceys. And obviously, You knew them
Right.
very well, going to school,
Right.
same school and everything. I mean, what was that like for you to see them at 31 walk away from the game? And did you were you able to talk to them?
It's so crazy because it's something that we all dreamed about, right? And when I walked away, it wasn't by my choice, right? I was in the middle of the season. Actually, I started the game that they cut me. So
That doesn't seem
I never
right.
knew. Yeah, I had no idea I was going to put on my pass for the last time. Well, these guys had the opportunity to say they want to call it quits. And I mean, phenomenal careers. I always tell the stories, I mean, guys who made that Lakeland team, me and Chris Rainey, right? We're two of the best athletes to ever come through our school, our town, our county, and the state of Florida. But after a while, you work hard, and you kind of like lackadaisical with things. People catch up with you, right? It all catch up. Well, the Pouncey twins, I had to tell the story all the time. We used to go out and we stay out till 4 or 5 o'clock in the morning. And, me and Rainey like, oh, we're beat. We catch the 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, maybe 6 o'clock workout. Those guys are up at 7 a.m. So they go in at 5 a.m. and they're up at 7 a.m. working out. And they always had just an extra drive to themselves, right? An extra kick. And it was just always that extra want to work out, to take care of their bodies, to take in and eat the right things that they should. That's what propelled them and ultimately letting them play for 10 and 11 years, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And, now, did you ever get them confused? Did you ever call Mike?
I was telling my wife a story the other day. It was so funny. I don't even think I ever told him this. So when I transferred to Lakeland after my sophomore year, that's when we started hanging out. Because I always been friends with Chris Rainey. Like we just, me and Rainey went to middle school together and stuff. I met Pouncey, we got in high school, like 9th grade. We started hanging out around like 11th grade, right? So I told my wife, Mike Pouncey had a little afro, right? Smaller one than Keith did. So when I first used to hang around him, I used to not call him by name until I heard one of them call the other one, right? So like if Mike called Keith or Keith called Mike. So now I know for today, Mike has on the red shorts, Keith has on the black shorts. I know Mike has this little mini furrow right here. Keith doesn't. Well, then one time he cut it, and I was really stumped for a while. But I can hear him on the phone now, and I know them apart. I can tell them apart. Right. Just by the facial features, tattoos are a little bit different. But to this day, my mom can't. So she always Major Wright can't. I think Major possibly can now. I'm not sure. Major Wright couldn't for a long time.
Urban told me once that there was I think Mike has a little tiny birthmark, and that's how he on his face.
Yeah, he has a scratch right here.
Yeah, and that's how he told them apart.
Yep, Mike has a little scratch right here. Mike's lips are more like, I feel like bubblier a little bit. He like holds his mouth different. So
well, it's certainly that run you guys had down there at Lakeland was amazing. You were just the players that came out of there, and obviously for you deciding to go to the University of Florida, was that a tough call at all, or because everybody else was going, is that where you wanted to go?
So here's how that went. So, wow. So we had a tight end on our team named Jordan Hammond. He actually went to LSU, right? Pouncies were already committed to Florida State.
Right.
They had committed to Florida State before they even started the game in high school.
Right.
Because Rainey had already told everyone he's not going anywhere but Florida. As soon as Florida offers me, I'm going to Florida, right? So I'm like, all right, cool. Well, Florida State was dragging feet. Florida hadn't offered me at that time. And I had offers from Ohio State, Alabama, Tennessee, it goes on, LSU. So I'm like, all right, I want to go to college where some of my high school teammates went. So I'm like, all right, cool, we can do that. So I can go to LSU. And LSU was on me hard. Coach Lane, I think it was, out there. Was a linebackers coach, and they were on me heavy, right? So I said, all right, I'm going to commit to LSU. So the day I wanted to commit to LSU, I called them, and they just freaking completely backpedaled. They were like, all right, well, we have to pull scholarships from people. And I'm like, wait, it's not what you were telling me like yesterday, the day before that, But I'm like, all right. So it was a Florida camp coming up the next day that we're all coming up to. It was one of the summer camps. And I'm like, yeah, I don't want to go anymore. Like, I'm going to LSU, whenever they say, hey, it's okay. And my DB coach was like, nah, I think you should go, it'll be fun, just to go out there and, display some of your talent and compete. So I'm like, all right, cool. So come out, I guess the offensive lineman, defensive lineman are on another field. We're actually in the swamp, and we're doing one-on-ones with DBs and the wide receivers. And I'm freaking, I'm locking some stuff up. Made a couple plays and whatnot. And when we get done, long story short, Urban comes up to me. He goes, well, I'm offering you right now. Take it or leave it.
Wow.
And I'm like, what? I don't want to leave it because, no, it's an opportunity. Like, mind you, I've never even been to a Gator football game before, ever. In my whole life. Ever. Right? So I'm like, no, I'm not. Like, and I'm like, what? And then behind him, literally, not even a foot behind him, is Chris Rainey, like looking over his shoulder. I can still see him to this day, like, come on. He's like, come on, man. Like, come in, come on. And I'm like, I haven't even talked to my parents, but, for the sake of the drill, I'm like, all right. So, shook everybody's hand, like we hugged, right? It was just like a Saturday or something like that. All right, so Sunday we were leaving, right? And it was a thing where we always stop to the stadium. Now every time we come up here, we stop into the stadium, see the coaches and whatnot, and just say hi or whatever. And they were like, hey, before you guys leave tomorrow, come stop by and say hi. So before we left, we went by and say hi. And like, mind you, Pouncey Twins are committed to Florida State. So we go in there, and I just committed yesterday, and freaking Randy committed a couple months before. I don't know what the freak happened. They told him, they was like, hey, Ahmad Black committed too. Along with Chris, it'd be great to have all of you here. And I kid you not, Pouncey Twins were like, we would love to come here, but we had a friend that always loved the Gators. And, his dream school is Florida, and we're not coming unless you guys offer him. Stephen Wilkes.
I knew it was Stephen Wilkes, yeah.
All right, so boom. All right, no problem. Stephen was a great player for us on those 3-peat championships. He can play some football. He's not scared of contact. We can use him. Come on, bring him. So we're just right then and there. And we got Pouncey to commit, got Stephen Wilkes to commit. Later down the line, got Paul Wilson to commit, and then John Brown.
What a collection of athletes that was. It was pretty amazing.
Yeah. So I saw Max Preps did like a poll against like our 2005 team and like Kyler Murray's team. I was like, who would win? It's like all of them picked Kyler Murray's team. I'm like, bro, we gave up 93 points.
Come on, let's go play right now.
We didn't lose a game in 3 years. Like, whatever.
You don't want to chase Kyler Murray around though.
That'd have been tough. But I don't think too many of them was gonna chase around Chris Rainey either. So
that's true. What did you think about Urban going to the Jacksonville? I mean, that's got to be kind of exciting for you to see him in the NFL.
Yeah, it was cool. It was a little different. Honestly, I didn't think he would. I thought he was kind of satisfied with what he was doing right now, and what he had going on right now, and I just figured that he would stay doing broadcasting. He haven't hinted at anything being a coach as far as being an NFL coach.
Right.
I was like, oh, absolutely not. I know for a fact Coach wouldn't do that, and he sure changed my mind really quickly, right? So I'm glad for him. It's gonna be a great opportunity for Jacksonville, for the NFL, and for Urban, and I'm glad to see that he's getting the opportunity to get back in the game as far as coaching, and at another level. So I'm excited to see what he does at this level.
Have you read Major Wright's book yet?
Yes.
And how did you find it?
How did I find it?
Good. Do you think it was good?
Yeah, it's awesome. A lot of it in there we kind of like talked about. But he'll call me, he'll go like, hey, still trying to figure out what happened in this game, da, 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 da. And I'm like a freaking encyclopedia when it comes. I'm like, oh, that was third down. It was 3rd and 2. We ran this, and this. And he's like, all right, thanks. So, but it was very cool to just read it and have my memory jog back to some great times in Florida football that I hope we can get back to soon here. And just reading it just gave me a little bit of chills. Just to know that he had the same feelings as I did. Going to war as far as games and whatnot. So it's pretty cool.
That it must have been tough for you to watch these Gators this year, because safety play was not exactly extraordinary. but I can't really say any defensive play was extraordinary. I mean, how much are you willing to give them a pass because of COVID and no spring?
Oh, I mean,
go ahead and say not much of a pass.
Nah, because I mean, how many new guys we had? I mean, these are the same guys that were playing for years for us, right? They played a lot of football. Now, granted, there were some guys in there plugged in here and there that haven't played a lot of football for us, but for the grand scheme of things, everybody that we had out there were guys that played before. So that leads me to question what really was going on, right, with communication issues. Remember at the beginning of the season, we were, 10 men on the field, 12 men on the field, not getting guys lined up. I mean, there was times where we freaking snapped the ball. The other team would snap the ball, and we were like switching sides of the field. Yeah. So it's like, what was the issue? Did we put in new plays? Did we forget our old plays? Did we, not focus? Is it the coach? Is she not relaying the calls in? So, I mean, I'm a big advocate on Twitter. I look at it what everybody, write and tweet about, and everyone has their opinion on what it was, and it's just like, it could be a plethora of things that we have to get fixed. And hopefully, with the spring starting right now, with a little bit of longer off season, right? To the season, we should be able to get in our playbooks, get in our notepads or whatever we need to do, so we don't have those miscommunication issues starting next year.
Who's the hardest guy that you ever hit, or that hit you?
Oh man, jeez Louise. I'm gonna go me and Keyston Moore one time. We freaking collided. I mean, it was he always says he won it. Let me tell you what happened. So it was like 30, maybe 30-1, right? And we were doing the drill. We had to stop him. And this one, Urban was like on the rocks with me, right? He didn't know if he was gonna start me or not. You have this couple week camp before the season starts. We come back, after the breaks and whatnot. And I mean, we were getting in it, and it was like maybe one of our last scrimmages before the season. And it was 3rd-1, and I had to freaking come out in the box. And I mean, they gave it to Keyston, and me and Keyston hit, and I mean, it was a collision, right? And I got up. I think I stopped him, but I got up. My whole freaking face mask was dented in, literally. Like, it was dented in. Like, they had to take it off. And now, and freaking Urban saw that, and he just, I mean, made him real proud. But I kind of was like, whoa.
Yeah, that's scary. Last question for you. Which team did you hate the most in college?
Oh, man.
There's a lot of options there because...
Yeah, shoot. It has to be... I hated Georgia. I hated Georgia from when they ran on the field. And that kind of like solidified... Yeah, because we kind of kicked Florida State's butt pretty much for the whole time I was here. Tennessee, we never lost Tennessee. Yeah, I gotta go Georgia because I lost to them once, and that was my freshman year, and I played just kickoff. So as a starter, I never lost to them. But it's just that whole day, just I don't know. It's like a rain cloud. Like when you think about Florida, Georgia, like I can think of all the good times, every great time that we had against Georgia. But I guarantee you, I'm going to think about them running on the field and dancing and doing all that. And, that just kind of like solidified the hatred that I have for them. They had a lot of talk. I mean, I don't see Herschel Walker coming through that door anytime soon. So,
well, Urban probably told you the story about the dream he had where he had Tebow throw the ball as hard as he could into the Georgia session as they were destroying Georgia. And he told Tebow, and Tebow goes, "Let's do it." So we're like, no, calm down, bro. He says, I got something else for him. I'm going to give the ball to Emmanuel Moody 4 times and call timeout after every one. Just to make them stay out there and go, we'll let you leave when we're ready to let you leave.
That night was so fun. I mean, I don't want to say we got us over a hump, right? Because clearly Georgia's beaten us a few times in consecutive years. But that one year that they beat us, like Pat, I'm telling you, like I tell this story a lot too. Like that was the hardest offseason I have ever had, right? Ever going into the 08 season. And everything that we did, no matter if it was a workout, no matter if it was a team run, no matter if it was a freaking lift, they will always show Georgia sacking Tebow 6 times the year before. And we just hated it. And I was just so when we finally beat them, when we freaking destroyed them, it was like huge weight off our shoulders, because it was like, oh my God, like No Sean killed us the year before, and we freaking shut him down. Like Stafford threw some couple good passes on us, and we shut him down. I got an interception, and a couple people got interceptions. Joe got one, and we were just we had a great time. So that was a great night.
Before we let you go, you want to plug your podcast here?
Yeah, my podcast is Stadium and Gale. It's a new show coming out every Tuesday morning. So check us out on all your podcast platforms, Stadium and Gale.
It's great. I've been on it, and I've listened to it as well. So
there you go.
There's room for other podcasts around here.
Yeah. You have a few and have fun on all of them, right?
Absolutely. Ahmad, it's always great talking to you, buddy. And
of course, all right.
Go lift some more weights, okay? As you can see, I haven't been lifting weights.
I appreciate it, man. Thanks for having me on.
See you, Ahmad. Appreciate it.
All
right. Before we get to our break, and then we'll bring on Zach Abolverdi, I do want to get to three things. We are, again, looking for a new sponsor, although today's will be sponsored by Shackout and Mercandani. And that's because I'm just throwing that in because we agreed to a deal with them. They're going to come on starting in July. They'll want to be under a football season, which is great. And they will be the studio naming sponsor, and that's going to be cool. So we'll be coming to you from the Shackout and Mercandani studio, and that studio will, I think, be almost every time at Spurs Bar and Grill, or was Spurs Grill it's called, right? Not Bar and Grill, but I'll be in the bar. All right, so three things. Number one, pitchers and catchers reported. I know for some people it's the happiest day of their lives. I'm not a baseball nut. I like baseball, but I prefer football. But I know that when people do get excited, and of course, one guy who's not reporting is Tim Tebow, who decided to hang it up. And I'm surprised he hung out on that long. I think he just wanted to keep that competition going, keep that competitiveness in his spirit, but he's decided, it's just not for him. And again, once you get married, things change in your life. And you've got everything going well. The baseball was kind of a secondary thing, and I think at some point he finally realized that. Again, that's my opinion of it. But yeah, pitchers and catchers, they're out there. They're going to be playing baseball pretty soon. Number two, Carson Wentz traded to the Colts. I've seen a lot of people say this is good for Carson. They're happy for him. It's amazing how we see this happen in the NFL. A team loves their quarterback, and 2 years later they get rid of him. It happens all the time. It happened to Tom Brady. The Patriots all of a sudden didn't like him. And he did pretty well where he went, but it is kind of weird. But I loved Carson Wentz, and it was hard because for me, I didn't like anybody in that division. I hate the Redskins, hate the Cowboys, hate the Eagles, hate the Giants, okay? So I said, I got to pick one, and I picked them because I liked Carson Wentz so much, and I liked to watch him play. And next thing you know, he can't play, and they bench him, and it's a weird deal. It was perfect for him to go to another team. Again, another team that's a playoff team, too, so good for him. Finally, we are done with coaching changes, it appears, for now. We know there have been 15 at the major college level. People are doing their grades and everything. It is kind of weird because we got a lot of that in the SEC, whether it's Malzahn, obviously, out, and now down at UCF, whether it's Brett Bielema, who we remember, now at Illinois. Kind of a recycling of all the coaches. We'll see how it all works out for all of them. But, I mean, it's like when you go to grade coaches, like if you went to grade coaches in the SEC right now, I don't know how I'd grade them, 1 through 14, because some of them haven't coached a game. The Vanderbilt coach, Lee, hasn't coached a game. I don't know if he's going to be a good coach. I don't know if it's a good hire or not. We'll see. All right, so that's three things. And, again, today, sponsored by Shackout and Mercandani. We are looking for a permanent sponsor for them, and we're happy to have Shackout and Mercandani on board. Right now, it is time to take a break, or break a take. And then we'll come back with Zach Abolverdi here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast. You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
This is Pat Dooley, and I want to tell you about my friends at the Gainesville Quarterback Club. I'm a member, and you should be too. It's the oldest Gator booster club in the world and a great place to meet new friends, network with prominent business people, and hear a great collection of speakers, including Dan Mullen, throughout the football season. Go ahead and give John Stevens a call at 352-222-8516 or sign up on the website, quarterbackclub.org. Thanks so much to our title sponsors, ABC Fine Wine and Spirits and Titan MRI, and to our pick sponsor, Leonardo's of Millhopper. You can find us live on Facebook and YouTube or listen at your leisure on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you find all your favorite podcasts. I'm excited to continue this podcast and to have your company on board as a sponsor. If you're interested in being part of the show, email me at patrickdooley54@gmail.com or give me a call, 352-317-3444. All right, and welcome back to another Dooley Noted Podcast. We have a lot to get to still. We still have to get to our Gator of the Week, to Leonardo's Millhopper. We're going to pick a winner here for that. And this, that, and the other, which is my favorite part of the broadcast. It only seems to humor me, this, that, and the other. But right now we are going to go talk to our good friend Zach Abolverdi, who took Robbie's place. Speaking of this, that, and the other. But he is now covers the Gators and does a great job, as we knew he would. We're happy for him and happy he's still doing it. Zach, how you doing today?
I'm doing good. I'm supposed to be at the Florida ballpark right now, but I got a little bit more time to get there today.
Yeah, for those of you who haven't heard, they're not going to start till 5, and I'm not even sure about 5, but yeah, hopefully this storm goes through there. But
I will say though, Dooley, usually when there's a rain delay, I'm not that mad, and if anything, sometimes you get a little excited because you might get the night off. I want to go to the game tonight. I want to see it. I want them to play Miami. I want to see this ballpark. We obviously, the way last season ended, and this 11-month layoff that they've had, the fact that they lost to FSU in their last game in McKeithen Stadium. I mean, there's just so much emotions for these guys going into this game. I know they're ready to play. And there's just so much going on. After what was just a dead spring in 2020, like, we have no shortage of sports right now.
It's crazy. I mean, I'm kind of glad I'm not you, because you guys got to cover all these sports that are going on. And in addition, you've got the #1 gymnastics team, #1 baseball. Obviously, golf just did what they did. You got swimming and diving's going on, the SECs right now. And you got volleyball and soccer in the middle of it.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, there's a thing
and then
called
also,
spring
you
football.
got and then you got, lacrosse is top 5, softball's top 5, and then like you mentioned, they kicked off spring early, which Dan didn't say this when he met with us this week, Pat, but I think that part of the reason you start early, right, is to make sure you get those 15 practices in. God forbid you have any COVID issues or you have to not practice for a week. You want to give yourself a big enough window to get your 15 in. And, these other programs, a lot of them around the country have to wait, obviously, a few more weeks before they can take the practice field. You don't got to do that in the Sunshine State, so why wait? And obviously, I think missing spring last year, they need to get these guys out there as soon as they can.
Well, that's the interesting thing. I was trying to figure out why, and that really was the only thing that made sense, is if you can shut it down for a week and come back. It's no big deal. You don't want to do that, but you get it in, and then you get an early start on your weight training and doing all that stuff and getting guys in shape. So it'll certainly be interesting. And it'll be interesting, too, to see some of these new guys that we like. I don't understand why there's any question whether DeMarcus Bowman will be eligible this year.
Well, I think the only reason was because he finished his fall semester at Clemson, and then he also played for them last year. But he didn't play 4 games.
Right. So
I don't see why the NCAA wouldn't just let him chalk that up to, that's your redshirt year. You didn't play the rest of the season, and so you basically sat out. I don't know. But I tell you what, though, man, you can say what you will about the NCAA waivers and how inconsistent they've been, but Florida's actually been pretty damn lucky the last few years getting waivers from the NCAA. I mean, Trevon Grimes, Van Jefferson, Brenton Cox was really the only guy that didn't get it.
Right.
All the guys last year, Pouncey, Lingard, were both cleared. So I would think they feel pretty good about Bowman. The fact that his grandfather died, too, I mean, he's going to be able to make a strong case. But who knows, Pat? I mean, the NCAA might just say to hell with it and either grant most of these guys waivers if they don't put that one-time transfer rule in effect before the season. But they might just say because of COVID and everything, we're going to be more lenient. And I know Florida is counting on him taking the field, and that's certainly one thing that they need. It's hard to complain about a lot of the offense last year, except the fact that there's just not much of a run game, and I don't know how much better it's going to get, but they need somebody to be a home run threat, to take 160 yards. They haven't really had a back that can do that, and he should be someone that provides that.
Yeah, and where are they on Eric Gilbert? I mean, is that one they think he could be able to play this year?
Yeah, we'll see. I think that one, because he played, I think, a little bit more, obviously, games with LSU, and I'm not, sure of the circumstances surrounding his transfer, but, I don't think that they weren't as maybe obvious, or with the family situation that DeMarcus had, maybe it's not as much of a slam dunk, but he's still, he's a guy that wouldn't even arrive until the summer. But obviously, if he comes and he gets cleared, he seems to be too talented that he wouldn't play. But, you think about it, Pat, I mean, obviously they've had talent at quarterback, they've had talent at receiver, and just a once in a almost lifetime talent at tight end in Pitts, and you lose him, and obviously you really haven't gotten a lot out of your running backs, and then you go in the portal and probably land the 2 best guys that you could have at those 2 positions. That should help their cause in trying to get better on offense.
Well, and that's the thing. People are critical of Dan sometimes for his recruiting, but he's killed it in the portal. And I always say, at the end of the day, let me look at your roster, because that's all that really matters. It doesn't matter how guys got there. It matters that guys did get there. And I actually went through their roster today, just kind of glancing through it, and I went, wow, I really like this roster.
Yeah, it's funny, Pat. I mean, you look at 24/7, they actually have, basically like a roster breakdown for all the schools. So basically you can look at, where your team and the talent that you have, and I'm trying to find the link. But I want to say that Florida right now, if you look at all the recruiting classes that they've accumulated the last couple of years and the transfers that they have, even though Florida, I think they've consistently had top 10 class or right outside of the top 10. If you look at all the pieces that they've added with the transfer, right now 24/7 Sports has them as the 5th best roster in the country based on recruiting rankings and, like you said, all the players that they have on the roster. No matter how they got there or when they got there, what do you have now? How does it look on paper?
Right.
According to 24/7 Sports, Florida has the 5th best roster based on all their rankings and calculations. So take that for what you will. I mean, obviously, you can't read too much into rankings, but that does say something about what he's built at Florida in terms of the personnel, because if you sign the number 9 recruiting class and the number 10 recruiting class and then the number 13 recruiting class, that doesn't equate to having the 5th best roster in the country. So somewhere along the way, he must have gotten the team better, and those are the transfers that have boosted that ranking.
Yeah, and that I agree with you 100%. I think that's the key. What do you think they've got to go after in this next recruiting class? I mean, where are they lacking with the guys that are going to leave after this year?
Yeah, I mean, definitely defensive tackle. I mean, despite getting those 2 grad transfers, which is great, I mean, those are stopgap guys. They're going to come in and be a short-term solution to what's been a long-term issue for Florida, and that's, their defensive tackle recruiting. Now, obviously, in 2020, they signed a great class, but there was that gap in the earlier cycles with Mullen and the staff where they just didn't get the players there, and they lost 3 senior defensive tackles from last season, and there's no juniors or seniors on the roster at that position outside of the 2 grad transfers that they just added. So they're going to be gone after this year, and you're still going to have that youth there. So they really got to address that spot. I think, staying on the defensive side, getting a linebacker and hitting on that position in this cycle will be huge. Florida's supposed to lose 3 guys after this season. We'll see if somebody decides to come back for their extra year eligibility, like, Bernie or Ventrell Miller. But that's another spot that they really need to hit. And they've done a good job of getting talent there. But as you know, Pat, a lot of the linebackers that they sign actually end up playing like the buck position. So they're not true linebackers there. So that's probably, a spot. And then, certainly last but not least, offensive line. Their numbers are good. Like, they have enough depth in offensive linemen. They just haven't really signed a lot of elite guys. I mean, they've gotten some 4-stars here or there, but nobody that's like a top 200 talent. And the one guy that was kind of rated highly up there, he transferred, Isaiah Walker. Now, Joshua Braun is a damn good lineman, but even he was not, like a top 100 kid. So if they can get a lineman or 2 of that caliber in this class, I think that would just be good for the quality of players at that position. But those are the 3 spots that I think they really got to hit on in this class. And as you know, man, it's already starting.
I know. Well, does this kid that weighs 432, does he count as 2 offensive linemen or just 1?
Have you seen anyone weigh that much ever at Florida? That's got to be the biggest lineman.
The last time I saw somebody like that, it was on My 600-Pound Life, I think. But, I mean, that guy is huge.
Yeah, Mullen said – well,
what's
and
his
Mullen
name?
said
I forgot his name right now.
Desmond Watson.
Yeah.
Mullen calls him Big Des, and he says he's got to lose about a 12 or 13-year-old. He said, just peel off my 12-year-old son, and he'll be ready to go. But
we saw them
the
do
one
that
thing
with Ethan White, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Ethan White and another guy, Stuart Reese. John Hepburn told the story last year, him coming in almost 400 pounds and then getting him down to 350. So they've done it before. I can imagine that, it won't take long, I think, to get some of that weight off there. But as Mullen said, once he gets to like 375 and 350, I mean, he's going to feel like a completely different player. And that he's going to be a space eater, man. And as we talked about, they need as many defensive tackles as they can get to come in there and start getting developed.
I read what Emory had to say after his first press conference to start the spring, and it was all the right things, and I liked what he said. But it is amazing how they've been able to get guys to hang around Because we always talk about, guys leaving early, and that's always a big fear that I think every school has. But to get these two quarterbacks to hang around, now look what happened with Kyle Trask. Now all of a sudden he's going to be drafted, I don't know where, I think second, third, fourth round, somewhere in there. Where would he have been drafted if he had not had, a full season? And for Emory Jones, just a chance to hang in there. And I likened it to the 90s FSU. When guys would come in, they'd wait their 3 years, and then they'd play. It's kind of refreshing to see that happen.
Yeah, and honestly, you talk about Kyle getting drafted, right? I mean, would he be in this position if he didn't have Dan Mullen as his coach?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, he could have transferred somewhere else. Would he have been in the situation that he would have been at Florida, the opportunity that he got, and would he have gotten the coaching and the development that he got? And there's no way that Emory didn't look at that and see that and recognize how beneficial that was for Kyle. And if he can do this with a 2-star quarterback, doesn't really fit a system, and really isn't that highly regarded because Kyle wasn't, what can he do with me as a dual threat, top 100 kid that's supposed to be a perfect fit for this offense? He had to look at it from that perspective, and he said that he did. Mullen, the message that he gave Emory the first couple years when he enrolled and was playing was development. You got to develop. And it's funny, I don't know if you remember, Pat, but there's a couple times the last few years that we've heard Emory say, I feel like I'm ready. Like if I get my opportunity, I feel like I'm ready. If they call on me, I feel like I'm ready. And yet, shout out to McElwain, and yet he said that when he played in the Cotton Bowl and got the majority of the snaps for really the first time in his career, he realized that I'm not ready. Yeah. Like that we still have a ton of work to do as an offense, all the guys, behind the starters, behind Kyle and them, and that when we played against Oklahoma, we did not get the job done. And that was kind of a wake-up call for him. And if he hadn't been here all these years, getting developed by Dan Mullen, getting groomed by him, getting put in this game here, and kind of molded, would he be in a better situation? I think the answer is no. Because obviously if Emory is admitting that after all these years and a year of redshirting that I got into the Oklahoma game and I still wasn't ready, well, then he definitely wouldn't have been ready as a freshman or as a sophomore. So the best thing that could have ever happened to him was for him to come, sit, watch, get developed by Dan, and learn from Kyle. And, I think he's probably grateful for how everything worked out and that he maybe didn't run to a school that was going to promise him playing time because that wouldn't have been what was best for him,
Yeah, last thing for you, and appreciate your time, Zach. Always good talking to you. Robbie and I talked about this a little bit last week, how we all in the media, and I still consider myself kind of a media guy. I mean, I can.
You'll always be a newsie.
Yeah, but we love coaches who say outlandish, outrageous things, and then we rip them for doing it. With that in mind, I think Dan Mullen needs to have a real quiet offseason because he just put his foot in his mouth a little too much last year. He needs to kind of have a nice, regular, like normal coaches do, offseason.
Yeah, and, he should be able to do it because there's not going to be a lot of media availabilities. There's not going to be many opportunities. There's no spring speaking tour that he can go out there and say something dumb. So, yeah, I mean, just play it smart, play it cool. I wonder, and I haven't thought about this or said this before, I wonder how much of some of, I don't want to say cockiness, but just the comments that he made last year, he felt like he had a pretty good team and a pretty good offense. And when you feel like you can beat anybody and you can score points, maybe that goes and affects the way that you talk on the mic and at the podium. So not to say
you don't have to wear a Darth Vader costume.
Yeah, well, I will say though, I think that I didn't have a problem with that. I thought that was kind of, fun and games. I don't think that was maybe looked at as – that wasn't as frowned upon by the administration maybe as some other things that he did and said. But I agree with you, Pat.
That show cause?
Yeah.
I didn't say that out loud.
And obviously because of that as well, it just, behooves him to not be in the headlines. Even though I like when he takes jabs at Georgia or some of the other comments that he makes, he probably will tone it down a little bit in 21.
Yeah, I think so. That'd be smart until you go out and win some games, Go beat Alabama and see what happens.
Yeah.
Zach, always great to talk to you.
Until they go on the road game and one of the stadiums overpack and he gets mad.
Yeah, exactly. Appreciate your time, buddy. We'll talk to you soon, okay?
Absolutely, man. Take care, bud.
All right, Zach Abolverdi, Gainesville Sun. We appreciate him for coming on. Before we get to our last break, I'm ready to go ahead and do this, that, and the other. I'm sorry, I lost my train of thought there. This, that, and the other, presented by Darshak Insurance and the Ballyhoo Grill. We appreciate them as sponsors, and they do a great job. This, that, and the other, which I think you guys are starting to get a feel for. It's this, then it's that, and it's the other. This, I get a text today from a good friend of mine, Tom Hart. Tom Hart's actually going to be on, I think, next week. This ESPN announcer, he says, hey, I was just reading the obit you did when Dave Fuller died. It was really well done. That's great. So that's the this part of it. And then the that part of it is that I wrote in there apparently that Dave Fuller had set a record that will never be broken in the number of wins he had at the University of Florida. And the other part is that Tom Hart pointed out to me, Sully is 10 wins away from breaking the record. So it was this, then it was that, now it's the other. And he may get one of those wins over there. I mean, I can almost point to where the ballpark is when they start playing at 5 o'clock. All right, we got to take a break. When we come back, it's time for the Leonardo's Millhopper drawing for, I think you're getting a bunch of stuff, but I can tell you there's 4 pizzas in there, there's a couple of hats, there's a shirt, there's all kinds of stuff that I've donated some of it, Kyle's donated some of it, and we appreciate everybody for being part of the contest. So, 2 people got in from, in fact, 2 people are in here twice because Michael Tudine got in and I think Darlene Berry got in for picking the game right on Tuesday night. Didn't pick the Gators, so you got it right. All right, we'll take a break. We'll come back. We'll do that, and we will do the Adams Rib Company Gator of the Week. So we still got all that to go before we get out of here. We appreciate all of our guests, and we appreciate you guys for watching or listening. We'll be right back here on Another Dooley Noted Podcast.
Titan MRI, North Central Florida's premier independent diagnostic testing MRI facility. At Titan MRI, we're focused on you, the patient, having a great customer experience. Our MRI equipment is modern and 75% quieter than any unit in its class. And our MRI unit has one of the largest openings of any of the newer high-strength MRI units, which allows comfortable scanning for potential claustrophobic and larger patients. At Titan MRI, we look forward to serving you.
You can get your favorite alcoholic brands from ABC Fine Wine and Spirits delivered right to your door. ABC Delivers is available in Tampa, Orlando, Jacksonville, and all of the Southeast Florida. Earn ABC points for coupons and free bottles through abcdelivers.com. It's powered by FedEx Same Day City, and you're going to love the price. Free with a $50 purchase for the first 7 miles. So wine, spirits, beer, and everything you need to celebrate. Get it delivered. Shop abcdelivers.com. All right, welcome back to Another Dooley Noted Podcast. We really appreciate what Kyle does over at Leonardo's and being a sponsor here, and has been a great friend, of course. And we appreciate that every and the way we're going to do this is about once a month. We'll, everybody who's qualified will pull it out. We've already did it one time. We did it with who won the first one? Now I can't remember who it was, but anyway, somebody won the first one, and he loved his prizes. Today we'll see who wins the second one. And then on Monday, today's Friday, right? Monday, I'm getting confused. On Monday, we will start a brand new contest. That's the way it's going to work. And certainly with all the stuff that's going on with Gator sports right now and national sports, I mean, we're not that far away from the Masters, and that could be a contest into its own. But with all that's going on, it's not going to be hard to find things to throw into the mix. And then if you qualify, that means you had the best score, or you could be 4 people qualified. And we ended up with a bunch of people that qualified here. So we put all their names into a hat. As you can see, I'm not looking at it. I've mixed it up. I've mixed it up. I've mixed it up. Now I'm mixing it up again. I'm mixing it up again. I'm not looking. I'm just looking to see if I'm leaving anybody out. I want to make sure nobody gets left out. And our winner, I picked 2 of them out. So now I got to. That's just dummy, Pat. Here it is. Our winner, Bob Julian, is our winner. Bob Julian. So there. So now, Bob, all you have to do is text me or email me, and we'll figure out if you don't live in Gainesville, because our last winner lived pretty far away, but luckily his daughter was in town, so we could get her his prizes. If you want to meet me somewhere, we can do that, but not right away. We still got to sort them all out. All right, so that was the winner of our Leonardo's Millhopper quick picks, which I think some of you are having fun with. I want to get more people involved in it. I mean, I think there's an opportunity to get some great prizes here, man. So just want to keep it going. And I think as we get during football season, it'll even be better. We all know that. Football season is the best time of year. Although it is technically football season right now. They're playing games. I don't know who's playing this Saturday, tomorrow, but somebody's playing Saturday. There are several games, in fact. I'm not saying you should watch them, but I did. I watched that Tarleton-McNeese State game, or at least some of it. All right, last thing today, and we don't mean it as the least important. It certainly is a fun part of it, and we appreciate everything Adams Rib Company does for us. And great sponsor for us. But every week we do a Gator of the Week, and then we do a Gator of the Weekend for whoever does great over the weekend. There's never a shortage of Florida athletes to pick, and when there certainly won't be on Monday when they got all this stuff going on. Think about what we got going on this weekend. Not only is baseball playing 3 games, you hope they'll get 3 games in somehow, because it's supposed to be really nice on Sunday. You have basketball playing Saturday. You've got the gymnastics team, the number 1 team in the country. And their link for pink is on Friday night. That's tonight. This is Friday. 6:45 start for that, which is a great cause that they do, and they love that meet. That's like their favorite meet of the year, the link for pink. I know that swimming's and men and women are at the SEC championships, and a bunch of other stuff going on. Softball, everything. Lacrosse playing number 1. Tomorrow, I believe. Yeah, tomorrow. I think it's tomorrow, yeah. All right, but our Gator of the Week is Hannah Adams, who had the big hit on Wednesday night, right? Yeah, it was last Wednesday night. The days are starting to confuse me. And to break up a 0-0 game, Florida winning against Jacksonville University 1-0. And a nod to Katie Chronister, too, local girl who obviously got the win. So Hannah Adams, we appreciate her. And, boy, there's going to be a lot of softball players in that Gator of the Week and Gator of the Weekend because they're so good. But I got a feeling that the Gator of the Weekend might be a baseball player. We'll see how they do this weekend. We'll see how everybody does. Thanks so much to our guests, Ahmad Black, Zach Abolverdi. On Monday, we're going to have Andy Staples. We think we're getting the commissioner of the SEC next week. We'll wait and see whether that's going to be Monday or Friday, but we'll work on that. We're still working on that. And we appreciate you. I appreciate Evan. This couldn't happen without him. Until next time, I am Pat Dooley. I am deep. I'm way back. And I am out of here.